Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you catch this video. Wanted to talk a little bit about something and just to remind you that the book, But Hey, What Do I Know, is available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and available through me. You can get an autographed copy from me if you give me a call at 866-609-7678 or email me at myronjones@gmail.com. But I will put both of those in the description box. And I was talking to my mentor about the length of my videos. And some time back, I was told by some black guys that my videos were too long. And that if I were to cut the videos under 10 minutes, more people would watch them. And so I first started out cutting the videos back around 20 minutes. And then here recently, the last few, I think have been under 15, under 10. And the views are not going up. And I was talking to my mentor about that, and he and I always talk about the different videos we watch and how some of them are 2 and 3 hours long, and we watch them. And he said, when you want to learn, you don't mind how long you're being taught. And that's so true, because the videos that I have on this channel that are what we would call lengthy, those videos actually have the most views. And so, I get the analytics and see what's the average time spent on all my videos, so I know what's being watched and what's not. So I don't know how long this is going to go. I mean, I don't think it's going to be 30, 40 minutes, but I think it's going to be longer than 10. And so, I just want to talk about some of the things going on in our society around the world right now, because many people are, worried about what's going on with this whole situation. Many people out of work, many people hours have been cut back, many people jobs are gone, never coming back. Many people have family members that have, gotten sick, so there's a lot of uncertainty out there. I've known people, who passed. As a matter of fact, in the last 24 hours, 4 people I know have died. And I know at least one of them is younger than me. The other 3 were older, but it's still 4 people within the last 24 hours. So I just want to talk about some things we need to do to kind of plan and prepare for a brighter future as black people. And I'm not excluding anybody else. I believe all of us in society need to prepare, but I want to talk to black people for a minute. And I mean, if you, any other race, I'm not discriminating against you. You're free to listen. I don't do that. But, I was reading something and it says 73% of blacks in America said they did not have emergency funds to cover 3 months of expenses. And over the years, I've always heard that in order to, kind of create you a shock absorber in case something happened to your finances, you needed at least 6 months put up. I mean, it's kind of hard. I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing, so it takes discipline. And in February this year, black unemployment was at 5.8%. And in April, it was at 16.7%. Now, the numbers are high for everybody, with whites right behind blacks. I didn't see the tally for the Hispanics, because, of course, everything in this country has to be black versus white. And we need to get out of that mindset anyway. But, I'm talking about blacks right now. And in a survey from March and April, 44% of black Americans said someone in their household lost a job or they experienced a wage loss. Now, how many of us are in jobs that are deemed essential? Many times the term essential means lower paying. Essential also means that you're in an environment that will more than likely expose you a little bit more, maybe even a lot more. I don't remember how many of you remember one of your most revered black female leaders telling you that she wanted more blacks to be in service jobs even though they don't pay much. And we loved her and we listened to her. How's that working out for you right now? If you are in one of those lower paying service jobs. I'm not putting those jobs down because I've worked in lower paying jobs before and I know how I struggle. And it wasn't even a pandemic which shut society down when I struggled. That was years ago, so I sympathize with those who are struggling financially and health-wise. Unfortunately, as a people, we were already insecure economically before the pandemic happened. Because in 2018, median household income for white households was $70,642. And for black households, it was $41,692. Now, at that rate, we're struggling to live, let alone save anything. On top of that, the black poverty rate is right under 21%. I believe the figure was 20.7%. That means a black family of four is trying to survive on $26,000 a year. Now, it's been said that blacks are suffering more during this time than any other people. Well, okay, we'll go with that. We have access to less decent health care because our incomes don't match other people. We have to figure out a way to get on top of this economic game because we're losing big time. And, I played football, for a great portion of my life growing up from age 8 until my first year in college. And so I played for a good while. And so we need to look at our economics the same way we're looking at the fourth quarter. We're behind big time and all of our starters are hurt. So we have to figure out how to pull off this victory before the time on the clock runs out on us. Now, I'll admit there's a difference in how financial situations and downturns affects us as a people. Many of those other people are able to withstand economic roadblocks a little bit longer than us. Many of them are paid at a higher rate than us for doing the same work. And also many of them went into business for themselves. But if we have no savings, we have to figure out how we plan on surviving. What we've witnessed and are witnessing is the economy as it was has actually shifted. I'm not going to say it's gotten worse because there are scores of people who are doing well in spite of everything going on. You got to learn how to position yourself. But the media only promotes everything that is bad in order to keep us in fear of what if. If we go back throughout history, the economy has always shifted into a new gear after so many years. The challenge most people have run into each and every time is trying to figure out how to position themselves and capitalize on the next economy. Right now, home-based businesses are exploding, and we need to figure out how to catch that train while it's slowed down long enough for us to get on. The train is not stopping, but it's going to slow down long enough to allow you to get on if that's what you want to do. Now, let's face it. Some jobs are gone forever. So you have to ask yourself, how safe is the job you're doing? And if it's safe now, how safe will it be 5 or 10 years from now? I remember working for a company some years back. In November of one year, I was one of the people selected to go to Midland, Texas to help open a new place. I was there 2 weeks and the future of the company looked promising to those of us who were asked to go over there. In August of the following year, each one of us were called into the office individually. They told each of us that the company had been sold and they were not sure who would be offered a position with the new company. Because I was somewhat diligent with my finances, I paid my bills up for a few months just in case I couldn't find employment It was good that I did because I ended up settling for a job. Settling for a job that was not paying me anywhere close to what I was making. I worked at that job for 4 months before I found something else. But I was at a degree of peace because I knew I had covered my necessities for a few months. How are you faring in that regard? I just read that almost 32% of U.S. households have not made their full house payment for the month of July. And because of that, the article says 28 million people are facing eviction. 19% said they were not able to make a payment at all, and 13% said they made a partial payment on their rent or mortgage. How you doing right now? Notice I said right now because each one of our circumstances could change in a blink of an eye if we have not prepared economically or have enough in reserves to cover our necessities. The article went on to say that for 4 months, a historically high amount of U.S. households have been unable to pay their housing bill, either on time or in full. Are you one of the fortunate ones who have been able to sustain this time or right now? According to Apartment List, those most likely to miss their payments were younger, low-income, or renters. Other experts warn that Black and Latino families face the highest risk of eviction. What did I start off telling you? Unemployment benefits are getting ready to expire for people. So what options do they have to keep their heads above water, and for how long? Part of the problem is the stimulus actually paid people who had never even had a job in the first place. Mortgage holders and landlords can only deflect payments for so long because they have bills to pay as well. That land that those buildings own are not free. I've heard many folks say that these landlords are greedy and evil and don't have compassion. No, they aren't greedy and evil. You entered an agreement with them, and they've upheld their end of the agreement. Now, it's an unfortunate situation, but instead of whining and complaining, we need to figure out how to secure our finances because, unfortunately, there is no security in having a job. Let me say that again for you. There's no security in a job. You know, at one time, if you were a teacher, you were pretty much secure for your entire working career. That's no longer the case. Based on everything that is happening, many teachers are complaining about the prospect of having to return to school. Whether you agree with them or not is not the point I'm making here, because my sister said she's ready to actually get back in the classroom. She doesn't like teaching from home. One thing I've seen is many parents who are forced into helping their kids with schoolwork have found that they've done a much better job than the schools, and they've actually made a decision to homeschool. If a great deal of parents choose the homeschooling route, how many teachers will be out of work? Every school district in this country is allowed so many dollars per student. And if the student count decreases at any time, the teacher count has to automatically decrease because the funding is going to be taken from the school so that they don't have a shortfall. Now, according to the COVID-19 Eviction Defense Project, 1 in 5 of the 110 million Americans who rent their homes, which is over 20 million people, are at risk of eviction by the end of September of this year. And these aren't just the low-income families, because a lot of people, even these people that make these high six-figure incomes, their lifestyle reflects their income. So they're just broke at higher levels. So the numbers expected to increase when the unemployment benefits run out at the end of this month, July. So guess what renters are doing around different parts of the country? They're forming coalitions to go and fight against their landlord. I got news for you. The landlords didn't create this situation, but that's who the people want to rise up against. I'll let you chew on that one for a little bit. Again, I will say, you're going to have to find your home-based business to start. The good news is the ball is in your hands. The bad news is the ball is in your hands. What are you going to do with it? We can sit around and hope and pray for better days, and I will agree that those things are important. However, in order for things to get better, days to get better, we're going to have to put some action behind all that stuff. Unfortunately, as blacks in this country, we've been programmed for over a century on finding jobs. Most of your black leaders will never tell you this, but we have always had two competing philosophies in black America. We have always had a group promoting business ownership, and we've always had a group promoting becoming an employee in a company that's owned and controlled by others, and then running to your politicians trying to get them to do the right thing. And tell you something, your politicians ain't doing nothing either for you. But for over 100 years, we've seen the fruits of the philosophy we keep following, which is go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. And that philosophy isn't working for us. It didn't work then, and it doesn't work now. Sadly, those who go to college, get the college degrees, and get those college degrees have a tendency to place less value on those who don't have one. Guess what? When your bills are due, the lender doesn't accept a copy of your degree as payment. As I heard in an old rap song, you say, they want money. Degrees are great because they show that we had the determination to finish what we started. But after a few years working, the job doesn't care about your degree. How many of you have been to a job interview and were told they could not hire you because you lacked experience? Did you try to show them your degree then when they told you that? Now, if you did, how would that work out for you? You still didn't get the job, did you? So, in the end, it's a piece of paper. And it says you can learn. Now, there are a lot of quality and legitimate opportunities to start a business in your home. The unfortunate thing is many people in the home-based business industry have perverted the industry with bad practices, so it makes the whole industry look bad. Ironically, traditional companies do bad things all the time, but we somehow manage to overlook whatever industry it is and will still apply to work for another company in that exact same industry. I mean, take Enron, for example. Enron was an energy company. We see how that done turned out. But as bad as that situation turned out to be, people still didn't stop working for energy companies, did they? In spite of what Bernie Madoff did, it hasn't stopped people from investing. There have been many people who have done the same thing Madoff did, but people continue to invest right to this day. The real estate market has ups and downs, but that hasn't stopped people from getting involved in real estate, despite the bubble bursting multiple times. How many people die every year from taking a pharmaceutical or medical malpractice? But has that stopped you from going to see the doctor or taking a prescribed drug they've sent you to the pharmacy to get? But for some reason, when you talk to people about starting a business in the comfort of their own home, many of them have had a bad experience with a few bad seeds and they judge the entire industry. You know, it's kind of like you got a bad preacher out there every now and then, and everybody wants to judge the whole preaching profession. That's another subject for another day because preaching ain't a profession and they shouldn't be paid. You know, don't even get me started. But the funny thing is, when the pandemic first gained notoriety, many of the people around the country were forced to work from home. Let me ask the question. Why is it okay for you to work from home for your boss, but you cannot find the motivation to work from home for yourself? Why do we continue to sell ourselves short because something requires just a little more than we've been given? Why do we love to take the easy way out? I don't like easy stuff because when it's easy for everyone, it doesn't have the same value to me. You know, that's how I got my wife. My wife didn't play. I mean, she cut people off with the quickness. And so if she would have accepted me real quick, I might have thought, she ain't worth it. But because she made things a little difficult, that was right up my alley. So easy stuff don't have the same value to me. Hard stuff tells me something's worth it. It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot for people to come out of their comfort zone because it's just that, comfortable. I read something years ago and it said, when the going gets tough, the tough get comfortable. You know what else that says to me? It says if you don't press forward toward the mark, you're weak and would rather stay weak than get stronger. Is that where you want to be? You want to be weak and comfortable in your discomfort? Yeah, I call it discomfort because we know there's a life that is available that's better for us. We can see it. We can feel it. We can taste it. But we won't put in the work to make it come true. The biggest roadblocks to us venturing out and pursuing a better life than we currently have is the fear of ridicule from our peers, be it family or friends, and the fear of failure. Both of those can be overcome for the person who has desire and will to succeed. So what are you going to do? You going to sit around and complain about home-based businesses because somebody misrepresented the industry? Or will you stand up and do yourself diligence and find something that can work for you? The choice is yours and yours alone. We don't have time anymore to allow others to hold the purse strings to our wages. Most of us don't drive our cars without a spare tire, but we live our lives without a spare income. And we don't keep driving those cars when the gas light comes on. So why do we keep running our finances with the gas light on? We have to put more gas in the car if we want to keep moving. We need to treat our finances the same way so we don't run out. We've been so conditioned to seek out jobs that they even told us we get a paid vacation. No, you don't get a paid vacation. You get the same pay you would have gotten if you'd have worked during that time. The boss does not pay you to take a trip. He pays you to recuperate from the other 50 weeks of the year that you serve him.